So, thank you very much, Jason, for joining me in with this podcast today. Would you like to just tell me a little bit about yourself and your story and where you got to where you are today?
Okay, so I'm now 50 years old, but I started trading. I started in the City of London in 1987, so I've been around for quite a while. Not at the age of 19. I started on the trading floor. In those days, there was a trading floor, and it was all done by hand signals and all that kind of thing. So the training program, well, there wasn't a training program. You were just kind of thrown on the floor, and had to try and get on with it and figure it out. So it was a sink or swim situation. There was no internet. You couldn't log in somewhere and go on a course or anything. You're just winging it, really.
I imagine you're with different age groups as well. What was that like? Where was your mindset in that place when you're 19-year-old in this huge new industry? What was that like for you?
Absolutely terrifying. I was petrified. I was in a constant state of nervousness,
Yeah.
and it's a very intimidating environment. And the traders make it so because obviously the more they intimidate you, the more they might make some money out of you. So it's not a friendly like, oh, how are you doing today? Why don't you buy some of those? You might make some money. It's like, what do you effing want? You blah blah blah. Come on, tell me. Yeah, it's really in your face. And when you're
Yeah.
19 years old, and I went to a public school, so I wasn't exactly street smart. Yeah, it was terrifying.
So, I mean, like you said, I suppose a lot of people will sink. What was it that you think made you stay the distance?
I think I just got in very early, and they desperately needed people. So I mean, that helped. Well, actually, having said that, I started in 1987, and by the April 1987 as a broker, and by Christmas of 1987, after the crash, I lost my job. The volumes just dried up. Funnily enough, it was the best thing that happened to me because I got taken on by a market making company. So I went from being a broker to a trader, and a trader was where I wanted to be because I thought that was where there was more money. It was more exciting and challenging. So it turned out to be a lucky break for me.
I imagine the numbers you're playing around with at that time, if you're on the floor, just a little bit I've seen with the trading, is there a lot of mental arithmetic that you have to be? Is it like high speed maths that you have to deal with?
Oh, only basic maths, addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. Nothing clever. I was an options trader, so that was very mathematical. But fortunately, by the time I started, there was a Black and Scholes options pricing model, so you didn't have to figure out the prices yourself. You kind of run the sheets off, and that gave you an idea. You obviously you had to use a bit more than just the sheets. You had to have some sort of what I call it, just some you had to be smart about it. But when you're working out your hedges and everything else, yeah, you didn't have time to go, oh, hang on, I'll just get my computer out and figure out, it had to be bang, 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 quick. And someone was asking a spread or a strategy, you had to figure it out. And the first person to figure it out tended to get the business. So it was highly competitive, intense. And yeah, it was great because when we go to restaurants, on the weekends and someone say, oh, there's 18 of us and the bill's this, you go, bang, 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 it's £64, 36 pence each because you were doing it all day long. But the funny thing is, it leaves you quickly. I can't do anything like that now.
Yeah, I suppose I never really had that gift. So I've been in those restaurants, and you are the person that I depend on to figure out what that sum is. So.
I depend on someone else now.
Yeah. Yes. Well, nowadays, there's the calculators are just on your phone, which.
True.
Hey Siri, what's
It's for kids these days because And I love. I'm not good at languages, but I like to try with languages. Even with Thai, I'm trying. But I think that in the very near future, we won't even need to bother. You'll just speak into your phone and it'll come out the other end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just said now. I'm not going to say it again because my phone just came alive. But I just mentioned the name of what you call in your phone to come alive to figure out the percentages. And in the corner, it just went, "What would you like me to do?" I was like, "Whoa, that's freaky."
There you go. Technology, good or bad, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's talking about mindset. Sorry, I've gone off. Sometimes I do this. I just start talking, end off in a tangent. But talking about mindset and technology, which I find so interesting, is I mentioned earlier that my challenge in life is being dyslexic. So it's a daily challenge. And technology has made that so much difference for me. But at the same time, I'm very concerned. I have 3 children, 2 teenage daughters, and I can see how the obsession with technology is also imprisons you. So there's a sense of freeing you and imprisoning you. And could you tell me how that worked for you in your industry? How, because the technology has changed immensely. Imagine from '87 to where it is today, and how that affected you.
Yeah, it's dramatically changed my life, and plus and minus reasons, similar to what you've just mentioned. I mean, so when we were on the trading floor, we used to, say, "Oh, one day we'll be doing this from a beach. Well, it'll all be on computer." And I mean, I still remember trading before mobile phones even came out. So I'm a bit of a dinosaur. When mobile phones came out, that was great because actually you could be off the floor in the pub and you could phone your orders in, or the brokers could call you up and say, "Do you want to do this trade?" So that was the first step. Oh, obviously now, okay. So I mean, I've got 2, 3, 4 businesses which I run completely from my mobile phone. You can obviously trade from your phone. I can't quite do my analysis. I need 3 or 4 screens for that. So it certainly freed me up. I mean, there's no way I could live in Thailand if without the technology that we have now. But I'm definitely absolutely obsessed and addicted to my phone.
Mm.
I've owned some villas, so I rent them out on Airbnb, so that I'm constantly getting stuff from that. I've got a construction company, so I've constantly got my project manager calling me. I've got the analysis business, and I've got the trading. I'm just always on the phone. It drives my wife absolutely bonkers.
Mm. So this is what I find very interesting, is this space that is so important for our mental health is being taken away from our technology. And when I found how addicted I was to a phone, was I was in Spain and I left my phone in the car, and all there was this bell to tell me what time it was. And when there was this moment of nothingness, I was reaching for my phone constantly to fill in that nothingness.
I
And
do that all the time.
oh, there's a problem here.
Oh, it's a big problem.
Yeah,
As I admit, I'm completely obsessed with it.
yeah.
Um, I rarely do not have the phone in my hand, and social media is a big part of my business. My analysis business, because I use it to
Mm.
promote my service. And I'm on Twitter all the time, and I shouldn't be. I wake up 2 or 3 times in the night. I reach for my phone. It's very unhealthy.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's going to be a backlash, I think, where we start to go, hold up a second, we need to actually regulate this within our life, because at the moment it's just flooding in completely.
It is. It is. Yeah. Well, at the moment, I'm trying to restrict my children. My daughter's just lost her phone, so I'm saying, well, I'm not getting you another one.
Mm.
And they don't need them.
How old are they?
My daughter's 10. My son's 13.
Okay, great. Yeah, so they're right getting into the social media world. So, so what happened from London? What made you leave from the trading floor and move on?
Okay, so the trading floor started winding down. Things started going digital. So I used to work for a company. I was called a local, so I traded for myself. But I was backed. I had someone who financed me, so which allowed me to trade significantly bigger than I otherwise would have been able to. So that was great. When the floor started to close down, we looked for locations that were more sort of tax friendly, shall we say. So we
Mhm.
moved down to Gibraltar, which at the time was terrific because I was only 30 years old. Had sunshine, which I loved. Got out of London, and I was trading in the sun and not paying, and saving a little bit of tax as well. So I really enjoyed that, which is how I settled down in southern Spain.
Did you do an easy jump from the floor to technology? Was it something that you found naturally became part of your process, or was there a little bit? Did you miss the group?
Um, for me, actually, the floor was very physical, very tiring, high pressure. I loved it. I thrived in it, and I've still kept some terrific friends from those days.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a bond that no one could really understand. You're in there fighting each other all day, and I had horrible arguments with some of these guys, but you'd rip each other's throats out, and the next day you come in and go, "Oh, morning, mate, how you doing?" You knew it was the game, and that was it. If it was your X amount of £1,000 or his, obviously you're going for it.
Yeah.
But you understood the rules, and you come in the next day, and it was fine. So it was great to be in my 20s doing that. Really, I'll never forget it. But I couldn't do it now, and I don't think I could have done it through my 30s. Quite honestly, I was absolutely, exhausted.
Yeah.
Um, I was lucky because I was an options trader. It's very, very mathematical. Anyone who trades options will know there's a lot of Greek values that you have to understand, and so to work them out mentally, it was tiring. So to be able to suddenly log onto a computer and go, blimey, I've just bought 100 straddles, and I already know what my delta, gamma, my theta, my vega is right in front of me. It's just been calculated instantly. It was like, woohoo! It's so easy. Of course, it wasn't easy because everyone had that platform. Therefore, something else became competitive.
Yeah.
But so that transition from me to trade options wasn't too bad. But in the end, I got bored of options, and I just thought, this is just because you're always married to an options position. You never really get flat. So when you're on holiday, you're constantly on the phone.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll trade futures, because futures is, it's like you trade oil futures. Well, the oil price either goes up or down. How hard can it be? I was used to trading 20 different strikes across 3 different months. I thought, well, futures must be pretty easy. So yeah, wrong. That was really difficult. Completely different skill set. I put 30 grand of my own money in. That was gone within 2 months.
Wow.
I realised I hadn't got the faintest idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like, wow, what do I do now? I can't trade futures. I don't want to go back to options. I have no idea what to do with my life. So yeah.
What did you do when you hit that?
Firstly, that was probably the start of my path to technical analysis, which is what I base my trades on now. And I have a business that sells analysis. I sell trade signals and trade ideas, primarily to banks, but also to retail independent traders. So that was at the start, because I realized, well, I've got no idea what I'm doing. So if I keep going, I'm just going to blow another 30 grand, another 30 grand. So why don't I try and learn? And it took years. I studied books, and it didn't all come together for a long time. So yeah, difficult time, but at least I had the sense not to blow everything.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes those testing times, if we can get through them, on the other side is what we actually desire, but getting through them is the challenge.
Most definitely. And I'm not one for giving up, and thank God I didn't, because now, I'm out the other side, and the industry is becoming more, artificial intelligence and everything else. So the human element is definitely being removed from banks and from the trading environment. So now it's great, because I've got a half decent business that I enjoy doing. I enjoy interacting with the customers. I like the challenge every day of trying to figure out where the markets are going to go and what levels to trade. And it pays me a very decent living. I don't actually have to trade. So I'm happy now, but blimey, when all my mates are going,
a journey.
and I'm like, geez, I'm making small amounts. I'm like, what am I doing? Anyway,
Yeah, I went through one of those challenges when I retired, and before I got into the coaching session, I thought, well, I'm good at what I do. I'm just going to jump over to the heel of the next specialist. But life said, no, you have to smash on the floor, and you have to get up and crawl up the hill to get back to where you want to go. I was like, can't I have it just a little skip over?
No.
No.
I won't begin to tell you some of the stories. I'll just move on.
yeah, that was then. So it was interesting. Artificial intelligence, I find very interesting. And again, it can have a really positive effect and a negative effect on us. And with trading, I can imagine that if artificial intelligence becomes so advanced and it takes the emotional side away from it, what does that mean to the market? Would you have such fluxes in the market? Would it be more? Because I imagine it's the human behaviour that creates the waves and in the market. Would that change the actual shape of?
I think it's already changed.
Okay.
In the days of the floor and not long after, well, firstly, central banks didn't telegraph what they were doing quite the way they do now. So there is that element. But anyway, markets are nowhere near as volatile as they were in the days when I used to trade on the floor. Nowadays you see Forex pairs, might move 30, 40 pips in a day. For me, that's, so boring. The euro, US dollar would move 100 pips a day, and it'd probably do it 3 times in that range. So the opportunity to make money was always there. Now, the Forex pair that you're trading might sit there within a 5 pip range for 3 hours.
Right.
You've really got to be patient. So I don't know whether that's through QE that's stabilised the markets and people feel that markets are more under control of the central banks these days, or whether that's an AI thing. I'm not a geek. I don't know how to program anything. I can barely turn my laptop on. So this is my
Tell me about it.
Yeah. But something's killed the volatility. Having said that, we've now got some volatility back. The stock markets are kind of all over the place, moving 2% a day. Um, although, and actually, for some reason, technical analysis really does still work. So whether
Mm.
the algos are all based on technical analysis, I don't know, but for some reason it still works. It does for
Yeah,
me anyway.
yeah, yeah. So, what do you think is the next step in your journey with in regards to trading, or is it come to a point where you're just doing the business? Do you think it will you'll get into it anymore, or take it in certain directions?
I'll be honest, I haven't traded much recently. I've been doing other businesses. I've been building villas and the things I told you about earlier. So
Mm.
with trading, it's all or nothing. You can't dip in and out of it. You have to sit there all day and focus. And I was finding that I wasn't getting distracted with the kids, blah blah blah. So yeah, I wasn't making money.
Yeah.
Um, my villa's nearly finished now, so I would like to focus again on the trading, but I'm not sure if I'm ready at my age, 50 years old, to sit in front of a screen for 8 to 10 hours a day. And because I'm in Thailand, I'm really only able to catch the morning session in Europe. Once the US opens, I'm going to bed, and then if I've got positions open, I just can't sleep properly at night.
Yes.
So I've got two or three guys that I've managed to meet through my business who are pretty hot traders, good strategies, well disciplined. So I'm looking to sort of expand a little team and help them. And
Nice.
yeah, that's my focus for next year.
So the time by the swimming pool, having the villas looking after themselves, the traders looking after themselves, it's just like you're almost there. It's just a
That's the dream.
yes.
Cocktail. It won't happen, but there you go. You never
Yeah.
know.
All right. Well. Thank you very much for sharing all that with you. It's an amazing and wonderful journey that you've gone through at the time, and also the tenacity to stick in there when times get tough and find the results on the other side.
That's because I've got bills to pay.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
That's because I need the money. There's no other reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think some people life does give them a bit of a battering. They tend to give up, and other times when you can keep going that extra mile, sometimes the desire is just over the hill, and if you can keep in there, you
That's the
get.
only reason why things have gone well for me is because for some reason I can't give up. I don't know what it is about me. I just can't give up.
Well, I look forward to seeing the chapters in the future and the results from all that hard work. So, thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon.
Definitely. Good talking to you.